Hey guys, Stephanie with AmericanMuscle.com here with my review and an install of the Mack Axleback exhaust for 2015 and up S550 EcoBoost Mustangs. We're going to be talking about a few different things with this exhaust today, but mainly we'll talk about the sound of the Axleback, the materials, and the install. The install for this is easy. It's a 2 out of 3 wrenches in the difficulty meter since there is some cutting involved, but I'll get more into that later. The Mack Axleback exhaust is going to be a good option for the S550 EcoBoost owners out there that are looking for a quieter, more of a tame sound from their EcoBoost. This Axleback is still a definite upgrade over the factory Axleback. It's a louder and deeper, but it's a tame sound for sure. You aren't really opening up any ruckus with this Axleback, but it's not a bad sound either. This Axleback has Mack's chambered mufflers, so they get more of a controlled sound. I think that's a good thing on the EcoBoost because it keeps it away from sounding too much like an import. Now, I don't think that you'll be able to get 100% away from that turbo 4-cylinder sound since that's what the EcoBoost is, but there are definitely some Axlebacks that enhance that sound and some that downplay it. This is an Axleback that downplays it. Even though this is louder than the stock exhaust setup and it's deeper, like I mentioned earlier, it isn't the loudest Axleback that I've heard for the EcoBoost. I'm going to rate this one as a 2 out of 5 on the loudness scale, with 1 being very quiet and 5 being the loudest. But still keep in mind that this Axleback can get louder if you ever decide to change anything down the road, like your mid-pipe or your downpipe, and keep in mind that you're still fully catted and that there are a ton of different Axleback options for the EcoBoost if this one isn't what you're looking for. This system features Mack's flow path mufflers, which are Mack's chambered mufflers that have a multi-passage design. This gives the exhaust note more of a tuned noise, and it changes the tone so you don't have just noise, but controlled noise. The mufflers don't have any packing in them, so the sound isn't ever going to change. The sound is just controlled by the passages and the routing of the exhaust. Even though this Axleback does have chambered mufflers, it still opens up exhaust flow and reduces back pressure. This is a lot like other aftermarket Axlebacks for the EcoBoost that open up turbo noise on the EcoBoost. Get a lot more of that blow-off valve and the turbo spool with this Axleback, and honestly, I don't think that's something that you can get away from with the EcoBoost. You're opening up that turbo, and as a result, you make it more noticeable. This system is made from manual bent 304 stainless steel, and it doesn't get much better than 304 stainless. Stainless steel has advantages over other materials like aluminized since it's going to hold up much better over time and it has great corrosion resistance. This system has 4-inch polished stainless steel tips, but there is one thing that's different here. This entire system is a little bit longer than what you normally see with an Axleback. Normally an Axleback is a little bit shorter than this, but Mack gives you longer pipes here. As far as price, this system is one of the more budget-friendly systems that are currently available, especially when you start to look at the prices of some of the other big players like Ford Racing and Borla. You can expect to pay between $500 and $600 for this, even though it is that high-quality stainless steel. One thing I don't like about this system, though, is the clamps that come with it. If it were me, I'd go get a better clamp than you get here, but I am a little bit picky. That's the downside of going with a more budget-friendly system. You miss out on a little bit of the nicer qualities that some of the top-end systems come with. You're going to be looking at the typical cut and clamp design with the install for this Axleback, since you need to cut all S550 Axlebacks. I'm going to call this a 2 out of 3 wrenches in the scale, but just because of the cutting that's involved. It's nothing difficult, but I just recommend some eye protection and a fresh blade to make the cutting easier. Overall, you're looking at about 2 hours to get this all done. A lift would certainly make things easier for you here, but the job can be done on jack stands as well if you don't have access to one. Cutting the factory Axleback isn't hard. Just be sure to measure twice and plan to mark where you'll be cutting so you don't make a mistake. This Axleback, like I mentioned earlier, is a little bit different than most, and so you'll be cutting further up right after the factory mid-pipe. The new Axleback will come with new clamps for you, so you don't have to worry about that. When you go to install your new setup, it'll probably be easiest to leave everything loose until you have it all lined up and then tighten it down. Wrapping things up with the Mack Axleback exhaust, this is a full stainless steel Axleback with 4-inch polished stainless steel tips that delivers more of a quiet and tame sound. As always, I suggest you guys check this out more online for yourself. And for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.